How do you deal with loneliness after you lose your spouse? Loneliness is something a lot of people deal with. It's an epidemic in the country, in the world probably. I personally dealt with loneliness way before I got married. I dealt with losing friends on a regular basis because I came from a family that moved every few years. My dad was in the military and I had to change schools often. Last I counted, I went to maybe 10 different schools. So I was always losing friendships, and back then there wasn't the internet and social media or any way to keep in touch with people. We didn't have cell phones. So I was always starting over, and I was always feeling a sense of loss and feeling lonely. I was blessed that my husband was my best friend. We literally did everything we could together. If we weren't together, we talked on the phone. He was a truck driver who was gone overnight. He was only gone about one night at a time, but a lot of times I would just ride with him on the weekends. We'd make a vacation out of it, go to all these wonderful stops. He would come with me when I was teaching at a certain place sometimes. So losing him was like losing the friend that I hung out with, the person that I always talked to, and there were a lot of empty spaces that I needed to find a way to fill in order just to keep going. Some of the hardest times for me were things you might not think about, but like driving to work was really hard for me. It's only about a 15-minute drive for me, but that was a time that we would talk on the phone every morning, always, until I got there, whether he was at home or whether he was out on a delivery. We would talk until I got to where I was going or until he got to where he had to make a stop. So that space after he died of just driving to work and not having anyone to talk to was really, really hard for me. Grocery shopping was something that we always did together, and running errands, we always did them together, and he would always drive. So little things like me just having to go do the grocery shopping by myself was really hard. Some of the more obvious times would be just waking up in the morning, getting ready, talking about our day. Nighttime, just sitting, talking, pillow talk. All of those times were areas that were really hard for me. And so I had to find a way to keep going, keep my energy up, keep myself feeling good through those times. So I did a lot of small things and one really big thing. Some of the small things I did, I found positive, inspirational, and educational videos and podcasts to listen to, and I would listen to them during those times when I would have been talking to him. So when I woke up in the morning, I might listen to one of those shows, one of those videos, one of those podcasts. When I would go to bed at night, I would listen to something, and it always had to be motivational or inspirational. Something that would make me feel good, make me feel better, give me good energy, keep me going, give me inspiration and make me feel uplifted. And so I would listen to those. I would put the phone right on the bed with me as I fell asleep. I listen to a lot of live radio. Live radio makes me feel like somebody is there interacting with me. You know, I know that the person on the radio is in real time. It's different than streaming a video. That person is there in real time talking about what's going on now. I can pick up the phone and call the radio station if I want to. And I know that they're right then talking to whoever is listening, and that includes me. So that live radio, and again, for me, it was positive, usually Christian radio stations that were praying for me and encouraging me and lifting me up in some kind of way to keep going through my pain. Live radio for me would make me feel like I had someone to talk to when I didn't have someone to talk to. But I'm also blessed that I do have kids. I have grown children, and my youngest at the time was 16. And so as those first few years would pass by, I would really cling to spending time with my kids and with my grandchildren. And spending time with them just made me always want to do my best and always want to keep going, because I want to be there for them and because I want to encourage them, and I didn't want to bring them down with feeling sad or them feeling like they had to always lift me up. So spending time with them gave me meaning and purpose and makes me feel like even though I was alone in the sense that I didn't have a spouse, I wasn't alone, because there are people counting on me and people depending on me and people expecting me to be there and wanting to share in everything that I have to offer. Another small thing that I did was going to coffee shops, parks, getting around people, anywhere where there is positive energy, people are around. I don't have to necessarily be interacting with them, but sometimes I do. Sometimes it's just a hi, how are you doing? A conversation with a cashier, a barista, or somebody walking on the trail with me in the park. Just those little conversations that let me know that I'm still connected to the people around me. And all of those little things together, day after day, minute by minute, kept me going. I joined a church that I had really prayed for. I asked God to really just show me a place that I could feel like I belonged, and I did find one. And there happened to be several widows there who were about my age, or a little older, some a little younger. And we didn't become very best friends or anything like that, but we became good acquaintances. And in that sense, it's good to see that we're all surviving together and we're all thriving together. I found a few really good TV shows that had good energy that I could just binge watch sometimes when I couldn't feel like doing anything else, when I just felt like laying on the couch and my best friend, my spouse, wasn't there to watch movies with me or anything like that. I found good, positive energy shows that I could watch or stream that would get me through the night or an afternoon or a weekend. So those are a lot of I call them small things, little things that I did, and all together that group of survival tools really kept me energized and uplifted and always ready to move on with my day and ready to move into the next thing with good energy and not being overwhelmed by what I had lost. The one big thing, the biggest thing I did and have learned to do in all of this is to wait, is to hold my pain and not feel like I have to solve everything in a moment or in that day, but to hold my pain and wait for what God has planned for me in each and every moment, because I know, and I knew in my soul, and I still know, and He's proven that He still has a wonderful plan for my life. And when I'm quiet and I wait for Him to show me instead of me acting and reacting continuously without stopping or listening or waiting for guidance. When I wait, He always shows up. He always brings the right people. He always brings the right opportunities. He always brings the right ideas. And He always fills my life with something wonderful that I didn't expect. So those are the tools that I use in order to not feel lonely, in order to not have loneliness just overcome me in widowhood. I hope that helped you in some way. Maybe you can use some of them. Maybe you thought of some that are not what I mentioned, but some that would be great for you. Have a great day. I'm thinking of you. I'm always praying for you. I'm Angela Lee Johns, author of The Widow's Soul.